Hello and welcome to the Medical Sales Podcast, and I am your host, Samuel. In this podcast, I interview top medical sales reps and leading medical sales executives across the entire country. And it doesn't matter what medical sales industry, from medical device to pharmaceutical to genetic testing to diagnostic lab, you name it. You will learn how to either break into the industry, be a top 5% performer within your role in sales, or climb the corporate ladder. Welcome to the Medical Sales Podcast. Hello and welcome to the Medical Sales Podcast. Today we have part 2 with Jay Pendleton, Director of Talent and Strategy at Medtronic, and he's going to go deeper into the insights of what it really means to be a medical device sales rep, how to be a better and more effective leader, and how he practices, maintains, and does all the things he does to impact the lives he impacts in the position he is in and for everyone that's listening on the outside. Again, it's Jay Pendleton. It's a great interview, and I really hope you enjoy it.
That's my birthday present from my mom and dad.
Jay,
Podcast is in the works.
Now, I look forward to being on that show now.
What's that?
I said I look forward to being on that show now.
You will be on the show, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, Samuel, I just want to every day is an opportunity, right? It's a gift. Every day is an opportunity to improve, right? Yourself and the lives of those around you. And I'm a big believer in just do things the right way. And in this industry specifically, what Scott taught me and what I've always done and what I taught my associates is just be a good person. Treat others with respect and with love and be kind. And if they use 4 screws, put 4 screws. Why would you ever put anything else? The people that are out there trying to game the system, the people that are out there sharing commission with their surgeons, whatever it is that they're doing, that's just wrong, and it actually is it's offensive to people like me and others that have done it the right way.
No, I look, you're shining right now, Jay, and on all the ways you life could be. I love it. I align with it completely. I'll take it.
Thanks, brother.
Okay, so then I want to talk a little bit about leadership because you went from you were a West area manager, or regional manager, but then you did get into the executive level, and now you're director. And I know that with our audience, remember we have people that want to get into the industry, we have people that are in the industry, and people that are leading the industry.
Right.
Can you talk a little bit about what you should be mindful of if you want to make that transition? If you're a performer, what? They're trying to feel like you. You're like, what? I'm doing what I can, and I love what I'm doing, but I want to do more, and I want to do it from a top line, more of a top line position. What should I be thinking about? How should I be operating?
Great question, and I think it's dependent on the individual, their experience, their background, their skill set, right? Like I'm good at some things, bad at others, right? And I know that, and so work on your weaknesses and harness your strengths. And so, I'm an empathetic leader. I'm an empathetic person. So I lead with empathy, right? High integrity, courage, right? Delegation. It's okay if you don't know the answer to something. It's okay if you need to bring in somebody else to help. That's totally fine. And so as a leader, I'm just connecting. I'm a connector of all these different people and all these different specialties, right? And I think, one of the things to work on would be, you could be a really good rep out there in the field and serving your customers and doing a great job and making a great living. But can you not be the star, right? Can you empower others to be the star, right? And so listening is a massive skill that I have to work on because I'm a talker, right? Mm-hmm. And having that situational awareness, emotional, acuity, just understanding people and how they like to be communicated because everybody's different. And we've seen some successful reps in the room aren't successful managers. And I think part of that is because they're completely different skill sets. And the other part of that is that there's little to no direct manager training. There's little to no. So there's sales training. I talked about this, I think, on some LinkedIn. There's sales training. There's product training, a lot of that. But is there manager training, right? Like, what's the playbook? So one of the things that I'm helping to work with Medtronic to work on that is developing that playbook, that communication, cadence, helping managers, because the cost, the impact of a failed manager is massive. Managing your former colleagues is a difficult dance. And I feel that the only way to do that, at least in my mind, and how I was able to do that effectively and successfully, is just, rely on them more and more. There are tons of ideas from everybody out there throughout the organization. And just because I'm in some leadership role does not mean that I have the best ideas. If anything, I'm the microphone for their ideas, and I will promote their ideas more aggressively than my own, because I have conviction and I believe in them. So it's just empowering others. And as a leader, that's kind of ultimately what I do. I listen, I take notes, I'm available, and I have the ability to connect with others. And so I just double down on that. And there was no love. There wasn't any sort of rockiness.
Right.
I think initially it hurt, it stung. How could it not? It would have hurt and stung me.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what I'm talking about.
Got it. So now you're director of the director of strategy and talent. So let's talk about that role for a second. What's the biggest discovery you found getting into this role? Maybe a surprise to you that you didn't know was there.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about a surprise, but what I've discovered, there's a lot of problems. There's a lot of things you can try and fix. If you try to fix every one, you'll get nowhere. And so you're a jack of all trades, a master of none. And so, again, back to efficiency and how I plan my day. And I think you wanted to talk a little bit about that routine. You have to do the same thing in the projects and the initiatives that you take on, right? What are your deliverables going to be? What's your output? And be very intentional about where you spend your time and how you spend it and who you're spending it with. There's a tendency for people to put on a bunch of conference calls. And I get that. That's corporate America. That's culture, But I push back on some of those, because I have to make sure that I'm leaving enough time to work. So, be very intentional when in talking about my routine, be very intentional around, and I've learned this in this new role, I have to guard my time. I need to quickly make allies and connections with different people across the organization that I used to not interface with.
Yeah.
So how do you do that? Again, same skill set, listening, be empathetic, understand what's important to them. Ironically, these are the same traits that I use to build my territory in sales as a rep. Yeah. You have to listen to the surgeon customer. You have to understand what's important to them. You have to show them value. Right. So I'm on a team that is, I have a seat at the table of BD, business development. So what are the next acquisitions that Medtronic's going to make? Very exciting, and I'm honored to be part of this. Yeah. But instead of just a seat at the table, my thought was, let's bring some ideas to that table. And if they get shot down, they get shot down, Samuel. But let's bring some value to that team. And so, as much as I'm recruiting competitive hires, I'm also recruiting innovative companies that potentially could be underneath the Medtronic umbrella at some point. Yeah. It's exciting. And I've learned just in a short order that be intentional about everything you say and you do, right? Mm-hmm. Treat others with respect, okay? Turn the camera on. In today's day and age, they need to see you. They need to know who you are. Yeah. And so unless I'm driving or on a call that's just not conducive to video, 50 people and one person's presenting. Right. But in the calls where you're on, be intentional, spend that time with intention and turn the video on, be engaged, be dialed in, right? When I was in surgery, my phone was not with me because the most important part, sadly enough, even more than my family at that moment, was that patient on the table.
Right.
And so nothing was going to distract me from my focus on my eyes and ears and that spidey sense on the room, on the surgeon, and what was happening, not only then, but what was going to be happening in the very near future. So keeping the whole staff 5 to 7 steps ahead of the surgeon, that's my value. So let's do that same thing in this space. Like, what's next?
Excellent.
My boss and I have a great relationship. He gives me great direction, but a ton of autonomy and latitude, right? Which I love, because now I'm able to spend the time necessary to do things that are a little bit unconventional. So videos on LinkedIn, right? I don't spend a ton of time during the working hours on that. I try to spend the dark hours doing that because there's only so many hours in a day.
Right.
But that to me is a strategy, and it's how I'm going to reach out and how I've already reached multiple different spine reps.
Right.
Just connected with 2 today that I used to work with. Right.
Yeah.
That want to talk, that want to learn more about Medtronic.
Yeah.
That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. And that's the method to the madness, so to speak. And don't get me wrong, there are some questions about it. There are some people being like, what is Jay doing? Like, but look, I realize I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but I don't have to be. I just have to be the cup of tea for the people that want to join the organization and want to learn more about Medtronic. And that's ultimately what I'm here to do.
Couldn't be said better. With that being said, then, real quickly, give us your daily routine. What time are you up? When do you?
I try to get up by 5:15, and it used to be earlier. So when I was a rep, the best earning years, the best rep years, when I was super busy, I woke up at 4:30 and I went and did CrossFit before traveling and driving to the OR.
You did CrossFit before going to the OR.
Before, 5:15 class. So 5:15 to 6:15. And I only could do this towards the end of my rep days when I had a really trusted team of associates that would get the surgery in, because normally you need to be at the hospital about 6:30 or 7:30 case. So I could only do this kind of towards that end where I had trusted individuals on my team, both north and south, different locations, different hospitals, where we would together go through the stuff the night before. Everything was laid out. Here's what to open, here's what to hold in terms of trays. And I would be there, and I had this down to a science. I knew when I needed to leave and how I needed to go. I would be there before the surgeon walked in the room and looked at the MRIs and the images, which is where I need to be there for that. Right. And then at that point, the roles change. The associate is then behind my shoulder watching me watch the surgeon look at the MRIs, right? And so they're learning what I'm saying, what I'm not saying, like what I'm asking. That's kind of how they learn. But getting trays into the room, I don't need to be there for that. Not that I'm above it by any means. I
get it. Yeah, we get it.
Wouldn't ask anyone to do something that I wouldn't do at a drop of a hat.
Sure.
Took all the trauma call for my territory. I always gave the associates the option. If they want to stick around, great. If not, go enjoy the weekend. These are my relationships, right? So, you would ask about my routine. So sorry. So that was then. This is now. Today I wake up at 5:00 and I set the intentions for the day. Journaling, reading, prayer, whatever it is, working out. Sometimes if I look ahead and I have a really, really busy day where I realize that I'm not going to be able to exercise, then I will do it first thing in the morning. And I don't do that every day, but I probably do that 3 times a week where I'll go knock out my exercise, because for me, in order to hustle and grind in the office and in the field, right? Business travel is picking up. I've got 12 nights over the next, 6 weeks. I'm going to be out.
Wow.
So
Wow.
it's a lot. And
Yeah,
so, but I have to get some form of exercise in. And that stems from actually recently a transformation that took place in my life, where turned 40 years old. I was overweight. I was out of shape and just unhappy. We moved into a new place. I was far away from my gym, and then quarantine hit, and I wasn't traveling, and so I didn't have any place to really exercise except for my house, my garage, my driveway.
Yeah.
I had 3 kettlebells and a plyo box, and I just committed to moving every single day. And ironically, today was the 1-year anniversary of kind of when all that started. That's right. Yeah, actually, April 24th was when I truly started. But April 20th of last year, I did a burpee challenge, and I was so exhausted and out of shape. And I just came inside, and I'm like, wow, I need to do something. So it was kind of that catalyst moment.
Yeah.
But this Saturday is the 1 year of moving every single day for 365 days and changing, the barometer. The barometer for me, it wasn't like a long distance or long time. It was just break a sweat.
Yeah.
That you want to change your shirt. So I got to do that every day. So routine wise, that moves and fluctuates related to my exercise will move and fluctuate related to when my calls are, conference calls, surgeon meetings, scheduled things, right? Kids stuff.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of fit it in. You just have to find a gap. Just like when I was a rep in the room,
Yeah.
right? You have surgery that dictates your schedule. So in between surgery, what are you doing? Are you making a sales call? Are you turning over trays for the next surgery? Are you thinking about how are you going to, you have to be productive throughout the day and get as much as you can out of every hour of every day. So that's my routine in a nutshell, is be extremely intentional, guard your calendar, book time on the calendar to exercise.
Yeah.
It's in my work calendar. It's not moving. Now, typically I try to do it before really anything starts in my new role, but sometimes it's middle of the day. It's the only time I can fit it in, or in the evening.
Right.
So that's a big part of the routine.
Excellent.
And when one other page, one more point, when I'm working, and what I mean by that is when I'm in my journal writing out strategy, phones are off, Outlook notifications are off, everything. These are so many distractions. And if you think about the efficiency of working from home, Samuel, for those that transition maybe from an office space with the cubicles or whatever, like I used to work at IBM, or maybe you're at a place with more people. There were distractions. People coming by your office, dropping in, asking, chit chat or redirection on a project. That happens today just digitally. But the beauty of it is that you can turn all those things off. You can turn off your notifications. You can just dive into your work. And so I'll plan that as well in my calendar, where it's time when I have a deliverable, like a project that's due, and we have a recent meeting with the CEO, and I didn't do a lot of the presenting, but I was preparing a lot of the information for that meeting. And to prepare for that meeting adequately, I needed time. I needed to speak with other people throughout the organization and allow for time to schedule that. And it's a lot. And so you would be surprised how easily we can get distracted. It's incredible. So just remember, there was a time when none of us had iPhones.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's funny you bring that up. Right now, a lot of people during this quarantine times, they haven't been able to manage the home life very well because it's so easy to get access to whatever you need to do, and there's nothing that tells you to stop. You're on your own. You really got to figure out and give yourself your own stop. Your own stops to whatever it is you're working on. So you have to schedule it, and you have to be intentional, or either nothing's going to get done, or you're going to be in a flurry of just busyness and probably still feel like nothing got done.
That's right. Well, what I've learned out there grinding on my driveway, which is the majority of my workouts from my driveway or my garage. And what I learned is that discipline is just like any other muscle. You have to exercise it in order to use it, right?
Yeah.
So discipline and grit, I feel, are built, for me at least, by doing difficult things, right? In the morning, waking up, regardless of when I'm working out, I'll do 10 pull-ups. I couldn't tell you why, but it's something really challenging that I do first thing. And if you do something challenging early on, the rest of your day is easier. Kind of that make your bed mentality that the Navy SEALs talk about, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Prepares you for the day.
Excellent. Excellent. So with that being said, Jay, then what overlying theme or even underlying theme that grounds you and that keeps you going and operating the way you operate would you like to leave with the audience before we wrap up today?
Yeah, I mean, like, what's your legacy? What are people going to remember you by? And what are you doing today to get there, right? That's a video that I shot in my car. And, I have 2 young boys looking at me every single day. You talk about you're the mirror, right? So they're seeing what I'm doing, and I need to be a good example and a leader for them as my role as their father. And so the same thing applies to my work, right? I need to lead by example through others that I come across with. I don't have direct reports any longer than I did. And during that time when I had direct reports, I was always there for my employees. I was almost brought to tears when I was preparing for interviewing for this new position internally. And my entire team, and maybe the exception of 1 or 2 who were stuck in surgery, sent me letters of recommendation. I'm talking like really well articulated, just outpouring of support for me and how great of a boss I was. And in the interview, when I was asked by the VP, what's my most proudest moment in Medtronic, that was it. Absolutely, there's not a close second. It is the fact that I was able to have a team of 15. I was able to have a team of 15 seasoned professionals, all cohesive in one team and supporting one another, loving one another, being there for one another, getting on a plane and traveling there last minute for one another, answering the call, and just having a community. And to be the captain of the ship of that, and we call ourselves the Westeros team from Game of Thrones fans out there, Westeros, because we were the West, really that big of a leap. But it was truly special, and I'll never forget getting those letters and being able to show my letters of recommendation from my direct reports and also people that I work with, cross-functional teams, internal sales training and marketing, and that was really, really a great thing for me. So basically, what impression are you leaving on people? And that's the challenge that I'd ask, those watching, what are you doing every single day to improve your lives or the lives of others?
I love it. Well, thank you for that, Jay. Thank you for giving us the time on the Medical Sales Podcast. And we will all be looking forward to your continuous videos and and different ways you continue to reach everybody that you want to join and be a part of Medtronic. Thanks again.
Thanks, Samuel. Appreciate it.
Definitely. Take care.
And that was some more great insights from Jay Pendleton. We got into it a little bit around the dynamics that play behind when people want to be leaders and when there's opportunities for growth within the team. And I don't want to say politics, but just what everyone needs to be aware of they're strategically trying to get ahead in their career. Jay's seen so much of that, considering his position, and he's grown so much with the organization. So his insights are always powerful, they're always noteworthy, and we thank him for being on the show and sharing them with us today. What really leads me to talk about is one thing that we have in our program, and I want you guys to hear this that are looking to get into any healthcare sales industry. We have a offer on Wednesday where we actually allow someone that wants to get into the program just come and attend an actual group client session, most likely with a guest speaker on a Wednesday at 3:30 Pacific Standard Time, and come learn something that you can use immediately after that session. You can literally put into action, whether we're talking about how to build a resume right, who to give it to, how to connect on LinkedIn, whether we're talking about how to answer certain interview questions, how to build your career portfolios, whether we're discussing how to set yourself up to have amazing interviews in a mock interview practice format. There's so many resources and so many questions to ask. So we invite you again to come on a Wednesday at 3:30 Pacific Standard Time and come join and listen to a session and listen to some insights from some experts on how to really get into the industry you really want to get into. We also have those that want to improve their sales performance. You're a team leader, regional sales manager, sales director, and you're saying, you know what, I want my team to take it to entirely new heights. What can I do differently? This is where we want you to check out the Sales Builder program. You can find us at our site, evolveyoursuccess.com, or find me on LinkedIn under Samuel Deyinka. And if you're an individual professional that's saying, you know what, this year I'm really going to bring it. I'm going to make things happen. I can't wait. Where can I learn how to do it? Again, visit me on LinkedIn at Samuel Deyinka and visit evolveyoursuccess.com. Follow the prompt, improve sales performance, set up some time, and have a conversation with one of my client specialists. As always, we love bringing you amazing content, great interviews with great people from great companies. So make sure you stay tuned for next week, and we'll see you then. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And remember, I have a couple programs that show you exactly how to break into the medical sales industry, become a top-performing medical sales professional, and also how to masterfully navigate your career to executive-level leadership. Check out these programs and learn more at evolveyoursuccess.com. Stay tuned for more awesome content with amazing interviews.